Hello, it's Jennifer McGuire, and I am a guest for STAMPtember at Simon Says Stamp. Today I'm going to show you how to create this card, which features a do-it-yourself glitter embossing powder. So how to make your own glitter embossing powder, and I'm going to be using some of the newest Hero Arts products. This is really fun and easy to do. I wish you could see the glitter in that white embossing there, but it's really cool in real life. It's easy to make your own glitter embossing powder. I'm just taking some white Hero Arts embossing powder, putting it in an old baby food jar, a little pill bottle, anything will work for this. And then I'm going to add some nice fine glitter. So I think the finer the glitter, the better this works in getting a nice crisp image. But if you want kind of a chunky image, you could use bigger glitter. Say you put a tablespoon of embossing powder in, I put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of glitter in it. Now that will make a lot, and I can make lots of cards with this. You can make a little bit and just mix it on a piece of paper to make it for one card. But I wanted to make a bunch of these cards, so I'm making a lot of the powder, and I'm just going to keep it in this jar and label it. Now it's really subtle, that glitter that's in the white embossed image there, but it really is quite eye-catching. I'm stamping my nativity image with Versamark ink on regular white cardstock. You have to forgive me, I don't have a label on my stamp because this was a prototype. So I'm going to stamp this on the white cardstock. I'm pressing firmly because there's a lot of solid area in this image. And then I'm going to shake on my new embossing powder. Again, I made quite a bit here and I mixed it, I shook it really well. But you could make a tiny bit and just put in a little bit of glitter. Now when you make yours, you want to make sure you don't put in too much glitter or you won't get a very good embossed image. But I would just encourage you to experiment because you've got a lot of embossing powders, you've got a lot of glitter, so it really does no harm in playing around with it. And then you'll just heat set it as you would a regular embossing powder. Now it's time to add some color on top. I'm using Distress inks. Now normally with an ink blending tool I take real care to start out kind of soft and ease my ink onto the paper, but here I want super heavy ink. So I am just applying it very firmly. You can see kind of the splotchiness of this, but that's okay because I'm going to put this ink on so heavy that it'll all even out in the end. I'm also going to make sure that I overlap my inking of the different colors so that it blends nicely. So I started with peacock feathers, then I did salty ocean, and this is seedless preserves. It gives a nice purple color to the top. So you'll see here it's kind of splotchy, but what I'm going to do is now I'm going back with the salty ocean and overlapping the inky I did, and then I'll go back with the peacock feathers. So I start with one and then I end up with that same one. And this will give you nice, good coverage. Distress inks are great for blending. You can try this with other inks, but Distress inks blend very well. Now I want my white embossing to pop out, so I'm just taking a baby wipe and quickly wiping off any ink from that embossed area. And this will also help those inks to blend too because Distress inks kind of react with the moisture. But I'm not putting too much moisture on there. And then I want to go ahead and zap it with a heat gun so that it dries, or you can just let it air dry because you're really not adding a whole lot of moisture. So after I did this, I decided I really wanted a circle image from this. So I'm going to kind of change it up. I was going to cut it into a rectangle, which I have here, but I decided to use my 2 3/4 inch punch to punch a circular window out of this so I could make a circle window card. Now after I punch this, sorry, my son gave me a punch there and he also is going to wave to you all here in a moment to say hi. I decided that little kind of blue line there at the bottom kind of bugged me. I wanted it to be white entirely on the bottom there. So I'm putting some more Versamark ink on it, and now there he's saying hi. I'm shaking on some more of the embossing powder to cover that little blue area on the bottom. Now you'll see one coat isn't enough to cover all that color. That's okay. I'm just going to add some more powder in a moment. Now one of the nice things about layering embossing powder like I'm doing here is while it's still hot you can shake on even more. So I don't even have to go back and put more Versamark ink. So after I've put this on and heat set it, I'll have a nice solid white area underneath there so it looks nice and finished. Now again, I cut this to 2 3/4 inch circle, so I'm going to use about a 3-inch circle die to create the window because my stamp piece is actually going to be glued on the inside of the card. So I have this die from Sizzix. You could use any circle die or punch for this, and I'm going to use some sticky tape here just to hold the die right in the center because I'm kind of quick when I die cut and sometimes it shifts. So by holding it with the sticky tape, then I don't have to worry about it. I open my card, run it through my die cut machine, and then I'll glue the piece on the inside of the card here. So I'm putting some adhesive on the back here. This is just a fun way to kind of shake up a card design by adhering the stamped image on the inside and having a window on the outside. And of course, there's still plenty of room to write a message on the inside of the card below the stamped image. Now the greeting that I want to put underneath this window is a wood stamp. So I'm going to use my stamp positioner to make sure that it's nice and lined up. So this is a little stamp positioner here. I lost my plastic sheet for my stamp positioner, so I'm just using a piece of transparency. But the way you use it is you ink up your stamp, you take the plastic piece, put it right in the corner of the stamp positioner. Then you ink up your stamp. I'm using here where it's navy ink today. And so I'll put the transparent piece right into the corner. It fits right there very nicely. Then I'll take my ink stamp and put it right up against the corner also and stamp onto the transparent piece. Now this ink will be wet on here. I'm going to be careful not to touch it, but I'll position it exactly where I want it to end up stamping on my card. Put the positioner right up against the corner of the transparency again, and again put my stamp right into the corner. So I'll get perfect placement here. And sorry, I don't have a label on the stamp again. But using the stamp positioner allows me to get that lined up nicely under that window. I don't normally use a stamp positioner, but for something like this it would be really obvious if it weren't straight. And that's it, a very simple card that would be great for mass producing for the holiday season. Also, that glitter embossing powder is something that's great to make yourself because then you don't have to invest in a bunch of different kinds of powders. Thanks for watching, and please stop by SimonsSaysStamp.com if you have any questions.